The opinions shared on the following podcast are the host's own. They may not reflect the position of their past, present, nor future employers. And now, please enjoy our podcast. Listener discretion is advised. You are listening to the Geeks and Gripes podcast with Dex, Rich, and Mike. And now, let's get our show started.
Yeah, so, let's say our hellos first. This is our first episode, and we're going to try to record this without too much editing because we don't really care about errors. My name is Mike. I'm here with Dex and Rich. We have Twitter presences at Geeks and Gripes on Twitter, Geeks and Gripes on Instagram, and Geeks and Gripes on Twitch. We also have a Facebook group called Geeks and Gripes. We hope that we have content there at some point. So if you happen to find those and it's blank, we apologize. And we're setting up our Patreon.
Still under construction here. Mind the orcs and the goblins doing their work.
Yep, and we also are starting up on Patreon, Geeks and Gripes, so hopefully we can get some Patreons and we'll figure out how to do some exclusive content for Patreons. But if we can get support, we can probably make this sound better than it is right now.
Definitely. At least a proper setup.
So just a bit of an intro here as we get started. This is more of a venting thing for us.
Oh, definitely.
I'm Mike. I am mostly a computer person. I am a geek in the sense of some video games, and I also do computers, and somewhat of a frustrated musician. That's the type of geek I am. I'm an oddball in the sense that I have not seen any Star Wars or Star Trek movies in its entirety, so I'm kind of the odd person out.
How are you alive, man?
I'm fairly sure that takes away your geek card. One or the other. Yep. You have to at least have seen one or the other. If you can at least say, okay, I saw The Next Generation. It's like, okay, he keeps his geek card.
Okay, so I did watch a Star Trek movie, and it was the one where Siler was Spock. So,
I don't know if I can count that as Star Trek, but whatever. We'll go with that. It's in the same way. If I don't know if I can count the new Star Wars as Star Wars, but that's a rant for another time.
I know I kind of felt that like it was catering to the modern people. So I'm here with Dex and Rich. Feel free to introduce yourselves before we start with the first topic.
Okay, well, I'm Dexter. I'm more of an all-around geek in the sense of video games, computers, tabletop games, role-playing games. Pretty much done it all. Card games. One of the things that keeps us three together is we are technically all oddballs. I like to rant quite a lot, and well, this is gonna be a form of therapy. So, also, as you may have heard in the intro disclaimer, I will let loose the occasional word that cannot be said on television, according to our great Lord and Savior George Carlin.
Well, I'm Rich, as in Richard, and not as in literally rich. I'm consider myself a geek as well. I am definitely pro Star Wars, even though Last Jedi is not considered as Star Wars. I like anime. I've watched Star Wars in like cartoons, Rebels, Clone Wars. I like D&D. I am a DM. I used to play White Wolf as well. So I've played like RPGs in like every console, PC, and also tabletop. Love board games. Also an oddball. So I'm into computers, as I think all of us are. And we'll just have to like hear some of my rants as we keep on going with this.
I'm sure.
See how it goes.
I'm sure we're gonna hear plenty of rants once the new Star Wars movie comes out and we see it. I can already smell the rants from here.
You know, I always do this to myself. Like I'm preparing, like I'm hyping myself because I have high expectations of every Star Wars, and then something like Last Jedi happens, and it just destroys my hopes and dreams, childhood. Like it all goes away. So
I hear you.
this is the hyping up time for the new Star Wars.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm really hoping Disney has the testicular fortitude to end it. Like I'm hoping that they're gonna end it. I doubt it. I doubt it, but I'm really hoping because if they do, I'll literally go like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay that the Last Jedi exists. We have this, and it's glorious. But we'll see.
To get started, let's bring up the first topic that we've been trying to bring to this Geeks and Gripes as our first topic, and I'll let Dexter kind of summarize. I am not 100% up to date, and it's the whole Blizzard banning was it a Hong Kong person, was it, because of the current civil issue that's happening in Hong Kong at this time. Dexter, just feel free to summarize what's up with Blizzard right now.
Okay, so basically, it started a little while ago. There was a pro Hearthstone player. Hearthstone is like a card game that Blizzard has, where he was competing in, I believe, the Asia Pacific tour. And when he won, the streamers, the casters that were going to do the interview saw that he had a mask on, and they already knew what was going to happen. And basically, his name is Blitzchong. That's his ID, and he said, "Freedom for Hong Kong, revolution of our times." And Blizzard, they reacted very, very nobly by simply banning him for a year, taking away his prize money, banning the casters as well, and putting out a tweet in the Chinese version of Twitter saying, no worries, guys. We took care of that. We'll protect the integrity of the nation." The Blizzard expected this to blow over. Not really, especially with, as Mike said, the current civil situation happening in Hong Kong. So they got a lot of backlash, a ton of backlash. And then they came out and saying, no, it's okay. So we won't ban him for a year. We'll ban him only for 6 months, and we'll give him back his prize money, which he freaking won. And we'll still work with the casters. We're just gonna ban them too for half a year. That led to protests, the appropriation of an Overwatch character, a Chinese Overwatch character, as a symbol for the protest by the internet, and yeah, it kind of caused Blizzard to rethink their plans of entering the Chinese market in exchange for sacrificing what made them Blizzard. That's about it.
So I've gone through at least what the internet claims their policy, and their policy did somewhat restrict or gave Blizzard the liberty to basically ban any player for anything that would be, I guess, deeming destructive to the community and take away the prize money.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you read that rule is so vague that they can literally use it for whatever. And I get it. Like, I get it as a company that you want to make certain rules like that because you never know who will find a loophole. But the rule itself is so freaking vague that they could say, yeah, whatever we want to ban, we'll ban it. And honestly, coming from a company that is very political when it comes to Western issues like inclusivity and all that, and basically being, oh yeah, like we are pro this, pro that, but when it comes to a country that has had a few human rights violations, just a few, it seems really hypocritical. Honestly, they should have just slapped Blitzchung on the hand, put a statement saying, "Hey, his views are his own, not ours," and basically told him, "Hey, never do that again on stream. We don't care what you do on your own social media, just don't do it on stream, and we'll be fine." And they would have saved themselves a ton of headaches.
And I actually read they did like damage control a little bit later, and they were saying that the reason for the ban was actually based on their game content, like their broadcast should only be based on the game. It shouldn't diverge into like any political or anything else other than the game itself, and that's why the casters were also to blame because they didn't stop that. But at the same time, um, how can you actually just go that far when it's not 100% clear?
No, no.
We know that that the player was doing this on purpose. Like he actually wore a mask when he was doing it, so he had this all of it planned. So you kind of understand a Blizzard in some sense, but I think they just took it too far.
No, like I said, like I understand that again, the rule is so vague that they can apply it to anything. But then I think it was a week later or something, there was another Hearthstone, the College Hearthstone Championship, and an American university group held up a sign that basically said "Free Hong Kong," and nothing happened to them. Like Blizzard just cut the feed, and nothing happened to them till like weeks afterward. Even the team was saying, "Well, we broke the rules. Where's our banning?" It demonstrates the hypocrisy. And after that, Blizzard actually banned them for a year, for half a year as well. But by then, the team was like, "Yes, screw it. We're in protest. We're removing ourselves from the tournaments anyway. So if you wouldn't do it, we will."
That's sounds like a double standard there, which is a very common used word nowadays here in the U.S.
Yeah, among other things.
And the whole China topic has just gone too far. Like all with like the NBA and LeBron James.
Yeah, oh God,
It's getting a lot of attention.
LeBron. Oh God, don't get me started on that guy. Anyways, well, like when it comes to the China market, I understand because it is millions, I think billions of people. It is
Billions
a
of people,
huge
yeah.
market, and they spend a ton of money on microtransactions. Another hot topic in the gaming world now.
Gotcha.
Um, and yeah, gotcha, exactly. Like they spend a lot on it, so it stands to reason like you'd want to be in that market, but at the same time, the hoops that some companies have to go through just to market there, it demonstrates the control the government has over everything. A publisher as powerful as say Nintendo can't simply go into China and sell its stuff. It has to go through a Chinese company, has to adhere to the Chinese market, the Chinese censorships, and once all that clears, then they'll distribute it. Otherwise, the Chinese go, nope, nope, we're good. We're not gonna sell your stuff here.
And that's basically the point. Like China controls everything their people do, and you as a company, if you want to enter that market, which is a very appealing market, you kind of have to sell your soul to them. You have to drop all like your beliefs on like democracy and just embrace their full control of and censorship of everything you do. So I think that's a big issue here that people feel that a lot of these big companies have sold themselves to the Chinese just to try to jump into that market, which may actually impact significantly their market, like here in the U.S.
Well, yeah, it's already happening now. I mean, movies themselves depend on the Chinese market take to see whether or not they're successful. Right now, Terminator: Dark Fate is it's horribly bombing in a fiery pit, in a fiery dumpster, um, because the Chinese market was like nothing. They didn't care about this movie, and they were depending on it because they already alienated the fans of over here in the U.S. So they were like, "Oh yeah, China will save this movie." China ain't saving.
And that's crazy. Like going back to Last Jedi, like the whole character of Rose was introduced to kind of appeal to the Chinese market, and I think it ruined the movie. Like you could remove that character and everything she did, and the movie would have been better. So it just proves how far companies will go just to kind of try to jump into this market, even with all the censorship and everything.
Oh, like Rose's character, I'm fairly sure it was not only for that, it was also just to like check off some diversity points. Because honestly, you could have removed her and the whole casino scene,
Yep.
and just set up like a dingy intergalactic bar where they met the character that they meet, and done. Same thing for the admiral, whatever her name is, the purple hair lady.
Don't even get me started
Yeah,
on that
no,
one.
like legit. That whole arc just shows how messed up or how broken the thought process was for that movie. Because honestly, how I saw it, you should have left Han alive, and Han should have been the one teaching Poe that being a hotshot, daredevil, adventure-seeking like pilot without a care in the world is not what they need. Like Han should have been like that father figure that he couldn't technically be to Kylo, so it's like he's gonna do it with Poe. Like Leia already was sort of a mother figure for him. You should have just done that, and Han and Leia should have been the ones sacrificing themselves at that moment with the ship, and boom, you could have it could have made much more sense that this random character that we were supposed to care about for the 10-20 minutes that she was being an yeah, no thank you. Anyways, did you hear that? Did you hear that? That was a train derailing. Let's go back to the Blizzard
Yep.
topic.
This is gonna happen often. I can foresee this happening.
Yeah, we should really get like a sound effect of a train derailing and just have it ready.
This is kind of a cheap plug, but if you listeners become Patreons, we'll be able to actually buy and make that cheap train derailing sound. Right now, just go shoo shoo, boom boom, bang bang. That's our sound effect right now.
I don't know why I imagine Mick Foley in the background doing the shameless plug.
Yeah, it's I still can't use his music, copyright reasons.
Of course. But yeah, so that's the whole Blizzard thing, and they were hoping that BlizzCon would generate a lot of enthusiasm recently, and honestly, based on not only the YouTube influencer reviews of the event, the videos I've seen, and like the reaction of the stockholders, BlizzCon was more of a thud than an explosion.
And that's a lot more complicated. It started because they kind of lost their way, like, and it's been happening for like over a year. Like the whole fiasco with like the Diablo
Oh
game,
yeah, Diablo
that was
Immortal.
just like ridiculous. Like they reskinned this game. It had like no soul. It was like just trying to do like a money grab, and that just started all of this. The whole Hong Kong issue kind of just took it to the next level. I honestly like watch all of the trailers. I'm not really excited for any of it. I think that they need to. They lost their innovation. They lost what made Blizzard. And they kind of need like a new franchise, something to kind of spark the fire again, because they just trust that World of Warcraft and Diablo 4 are going to carry them forever, and
And
I think that's not the
and
case.
not only that, World of Warcraft, the modern version is tanking. Like they lost control of that story. They have no clue where they're going with that story. But World of Warcraft Classic, it's actually like kept the company alive this past quarter, which is ridiculous because and that's the beauty of this company. In one BlizzCon, they actually like they had the president of the company had the balls to say, "Oh, you think you want World of Warcraft Classic, but you don't." And then they realized, "Oh wait, the fans actually do want World of Warcraft Classic." Damn. And they finally did it, and people flocked to it.
But I think it was like a fad. I played it. It's fun. It brought back memories. But for me, at least, there's the end game. It's just not there. It was fun for maybe a month, but I personally just discontinued my subscription. So I think it was just like a fad. At least that's my opinion.
I mean, I don't play World of Warcraft, but I have noticed that in contrast to previous years, I'm actually seeing World of Warcraft advertisement. I believe they were at a point where they actually did not needed to advertise themselves.
Oh no, yeah, they were at a point where they were so big that just including a reference to World of Warcraft made whatever show or movie or whatever a bit more like into it, and fans would be like, "Holy crap, they mentioned the game." Hell, they even had a partnership with South Park at one point. By the way, that one of
Yep.
the best episodes of South Park ever. Legit.
Yep. I think that at some point at the peak, they had more subscriptions than countries have populations. They were like maybe larger than 50% of the countries of the world in terms of population.
And most of the states in the U.S.
Yeah. There were studies on how the auction house actually could influence economics in the real world.
Oh, dude.
So it was like its own thing.
So there was a raid boss back in the day that gave out a plague to two players. So hunters discovered that it gave their pets the plague, but their pets didn't die. So what they would do, they would go on this raid, get to that point, wait until the raid boss um, infected their pet, then they would teleport to a major city and infect the entire server. The CDC actually has that whole thing as a study for how, like, to react to the spread of a plague in a major population and the psychology behind it. Because honestly, players were just being.
Yep. Wow, this kind of shows that video games may reflect sometimes how a person could behave in real life. Which which kind of makes me segue to the next topic that we kind of wanted to bring to the table. Some politicians apparently are, at least in the U.S., are blaming video games for mass shootings.
Yeah, obviously, because I've played so much Call of Duty that I am now a trained soldier, as a fat that I am.
Well, I mean, being a person with a family, I end up seeing myself in Walmart too often, and they legit have taken out their advertisements for violent games.
Yeah, but that's just an overreaction, because in every time this happens, every time a kid shoots up a school, shoots up something, they don't look at the parents. They don't look at the school. They don't look at what was going on with the kid. They don't say, "Oh, was the kid being bullied? Ah, well, what can we do about that?" No, it's like they go to his room, they see a video game console, they see Call of Duty or Mass Effect or Dead Rising or something like that. It's like, "Oh my god, the game made him do it." No, maybe his school life was crap and there was not enough money to get him the mental help he needed. Nah, let's just blame the video games. That way we don't have to take any responsibility.
Yep, and that started with Columbine, that they were saying that they play a lot of Doom. So I think that's what started this like urban legend at this point.
No, it's not an urban legend. It's just people who can't or won't take responsibility for what happened and just need something to blame. And there's the video game companies, a big corporation. Let's blame them. Yeah, no, no. Like, yeah, some video games are violent, and then there's the people who spend literally months on Minecraft building a scale recreation of Lord of the Ring locations.
Yep.
So in the end, we have other countries in the world that so happen to have video games too. I don't see other countries having these mass shooting problems.
Yeah, like, and also there's other types of issues with video games in other countries that still get blamed on the video games when you should be blaming it on society. Like, I think, was it in Thailand or Vietnam recently, there was a 17-year-old video game addict that died after staying awake, I think, like 48, no, 72 hours or something on video game binges. nobody's questioning the parents how they allowed this 17-year-old without a job to stay up all night playing video games.
All night and all day. It was like straight 72 hours.
Exactly. Like nobody asked them like, "Hey, why didn't you unplug the TV?" Oh, he would get upset. So, he's your kid. Beat him if he gets upset.
Boy, that one's gonna give us bad ratings on.
I'm sorry, we're Hispanic, bro. Like, we don't come from this generation. Like,
I know, homing chancla, homing chancla.
exactly. Like the chancla is the most powerful weapon in the Hispanic parents' arsenal for a reason. It's not only a joke; it's a legend at this point.
For all those monolingual, chancla is a sandal. But
Yeah.
only that Hispanic sandals somehow have homing powers. Like you could duck and it would still like hit you.
Well, I honestly I think that is a power that the older generation of Hispanic people have that we lost at some point. Because I distinctly remember a professor in our college that had that same ability with a board eraser. He could.
And it was an adult thing. Like I remember, there was this spider in my house. My dad, from like lay in position, he just threw his chancla at the wall and he killed the spider like maybe 15 feet away. So it was like a skill, like a learned skill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm fairly sure that it's a skill that we lost over time.
I'm surprised
And
that Puerto Rico has not produced more pitchers in baseball. That being the
well,
case.
remember that like it's an inherent fear, so maybe that's why they're afraid of turning into their parents, and they're like, oh no, la chancla, and suddenly like traumatic visions appear.
I really don't know how we ended up with chanclas from like a blizzard and gun
Insert
violence.
train derailment sound here.
Choo choo, clang clang, bang bang.
Anyways, yeah. So back to Blizzard and them being complete and utter cowards. Um, they did BlizzCon. The president came up and did a quote unquote apology, and it was the lamest, most pathetic apology, non-apology ever. Um, yeah, and people reacted to it. I've seen YouTubers that I followed for years not give a damn about BlizzCon this year or be like, yeah, Diablo 4, cool. It was a cinematic. We have no idea what it's going to be. I'm not hyped.
Yep, even World of Warcraft though, like I saw the cinematic and they were going for like nostalgia. Yeah, we're talking about like the Lich King and all that, and honestly, like I was like, yeah. I was seriously expecting a lot more out of like a Blizzard. They kind of lost their way, as I said. I don't think they have put like original or innovative content in like years.
No, like I was expecting a new IP. That's intellectual property for anybody who is wondering. Like I was expecting a new one. I was expecting like a whole new video game, like a new franchise, and then being like, okay, this is gonna be our next project. It's gonna be amazing. But hell, they didn't throw anything for StarCraft. I'm fairly sure at this point they just abandoned StarCraft. I don't think they give a crap.
Well, the story finished. I think they should go back to that like genre. Like I think Warcraft, like the original
Yeah.
Warcraft, like the RTS were amazing. StarCraft was amazing. I think they had a good thing going on, and they just finished the story for StarCraft and kind of dropped the whole RTS. So I think that's a missed opportunity from their side.
No, definitely. It definitely is. And again, it's them becoming complacent. And like a lot of video game companies are doing this now, and uh, it's annoying because like I get it, it's a safe bet, but at the same time, safe bets can only get you so far.
It's like Overwatch 2. Like, I honestly don't see what's the difference between Overwatch and Overwatch 2. Like, same characters. It's like,
There's a PvE mode. That's it. They literally said that there's going to be a PvE mode, but all the characters that all the new characters that appear there for the PvP mode will be available in Overwatch 1. So why should I buy 2? Why should it be a $60 new game when you can literally just update the original game and do the
Yep.
PvE mode?
It should be an expansion. Like I don't understand
Yeah,
this.
it should be
How companies work.
it should be a $40 expansion, include 3 or 4 new characters, a full PvE mode, and then be like, oh, by the way, we'll be adding chapters or we'll be adding stories, and there you can literally plan an entire year's worth of content by doing that. But no, they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a new game. Who cares?
Everything is a money grab nowadays. Like the whole Fallout 76 like
Oh
membership
God.
makes like seriously no sense. Like I honestly don't understand like what happened to Bethesda. Like that's another company that went down the drain.
So for people who don't know, let's go back in time. Bethesda used to make excellent games. They would partner up with other studios and make excellent games. And then they announced Fallout 76, an MMO style open world Fallout game. And when it came out, you paid $60 for an alpha. You paid $60 for an alpha game that may be a game in 4 or 5 years. And then they just kept crapping the bed because instead of fixing it, it's like, oh, by the way, we're going to finally add NPCs.
A year
Fallout
later,
game.
they added NPCs.
No,
and an
no,
actual
they
story,
haven't. They haven't. That's the beauty of it. They have not. The
I saw that they announced it, but I'm not playing it. So
no,
I really
no,
don't
like
know.
I'm not playing it either, but I'm following some people, and they announced that they were going to add NPCs to a Fallout game,
Yeah.
which has to have NPCs for a story. But they just said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna add it," and then in the most recent thing, they're like, "Oh yeah, the updates is delayed because we want to make sure it's up to the highest quality." But in the meantime, here's $100 a year membership.
Yep. Well, and the funny thing is that it came out the same week that Outer Worlds, which is like a direct competition to Fallout,
Well,
came out.
yeah, because Outer Worlds was created by the studio that made Fallout New Vegas, one of the best Fallout games, story wise, mechanic wise, ever. And basically, the Outer Worlds is what happens when you let this company do what they want to do on their own without putting pressure or time restraints on them. And they made an amazing game. So basically, Bethesda's getting to that point where they are becoming obsolete.
Yep. And it's sad because they had like Skyrim. Like I don't see like Skyrim being like what it used to be anymore. Like I think that they just lost too much of like their fans' faith in them. So when a company just screws up that bad, it's just not good. I think your hopes and dreams kind of go down the drain with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Obsolete.
Yeah, dude, legit. Like, I could hear Broken Matt going, delete, delete, delete.
Yes. Um.
Mhm.
That's this complacency thing is not not just affecting video game companies. It seems to be affecting many well-established companies. I am not going to mention the company's name, but their initials are WWE. They're kind of falling in that.
Yeah, but
Falling
but
on
we
that
know
too.
why. Like, I mean, it literally took a beef, a money beef between Vince and a Saudi prince for Triple H to get a freaking chance to set up a SmackDown, and it turned out to be one of the best ones ever.
Well, that actually is just a rumor. It was actually a mechanical failure.
Yeah, sure. In the same way as China's social currency system is just a social health thing. Yeah, sure.
Mechanical health.
Yeah.
There was no $1 million issue with
No, no.
the government not paying Vince and Vince getting stuff and cutting out the live feed.
The live feed.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's just a rumor.
But yeah, complacency. I mean, even when they brought up such a nice character like the Fiend, it still took them 2 pay-per-views to get it right. It's like people were. It's like they hear the people booing and actually chanting AEW in a live stream, their competition, and now they realized, oh, maybe we should have given the Fiend the championship. Yeah.
Like honestly, the Firefly Funhouse segments of Raw were sometimes the only good thing about some of the Raws. Like you sitting down and seeing this freaky, amazing moment, you're like, what the hell am I watching? And it was great. It was gold.
Yeah. I still think they painted themselves and Uchiha Madara by now having this impervious, invulnerable character that cannot be hurt.
They'll make up a weakness, be it the lamp being a throwback to like oh god, what's her name? The sister, what's the name? Abigail, sister Abigail. They'll come up with something. I'm sure one of them will pull like a Randy Orton and go into the Firefly Funhouse and like burn it to the ground or something.
They already did that. Seth Rollins came in and burned the Firefly Funhouse to the ground.
Yeah, but Seth Rollins sucks, so you know.
I mean, he doesn't suck. It's just that people don't want him to be the champion. Period.
Exactly. Like you need to redo that character before people give a shit again.
Yeah, Seth Rollins, if you ever get to hear this, we don't think you suck as a performer.
Oh no, like he also as a person, he's apparently an amazing person. But yeah, like it's honestly at this point, no one should really be mad at any of the wrestlers because again, this is a performance. They're performers. They're very athletic performers and they're different people. Hell, Aleister Black recently there was a kid on Twitter that nobody came to his 11th birthday and his dad was like, hey, you know, at least send the little guy some like, you know, encouraging words. And Aleister Black's like, I'll be your friend, bro. Where can I send you some gifts? And apparently he sent him some merchandise and stuff. And like, so, you know, these people are performers. They're amazing. But at the end of the day, they are restrained by the WWE creative team, which in recent years has been lacking, to be a kind.
I mean, in the end, Vince gets the last word, so.
That too. Big Daddy Vince, yeah.
Who knows how many actual good ideas have come out, and then they go, oh, this is a PG show now, we're not doing it.
And that alone is, oh god. Like, I get it. I get why they did it.
I mean, I have hopes. They actually did sneak in a TV-14 show not long ago.
Yeah, because AEW doesn't give a crap. And that's their direct competition now.
It is, but you can still tell AEW is it's in infancy. They still have a long way to go, and a lot of the performers in AEW actually don't know how to perform on live TV.
Well, yeah, but that's the trade-off. It's a new venture. It's a lot of like they gave chances to a lot of like indie wrestlers that really wanted to be in WWE and be in that live like performance venue but never had a chance. No, they're giving them a chance and you never know, you could hit gold that Vince never even dreamed of, but it's still starting, it's still in its infancy, so we just have to wait and hope that they survive.
But competition is healthy at the end of the day. Like again, like complacency of being on top of like the market is what makes like writers just get like bored and not have a challenge to actually have to write better content. So competition should encourage WWE to become better.
I mean, yeah, it's like they have nothing to compete against them, and they have sponsors. It's like now they actually may see some of their viewership move to the other product, and maybe that'll finally send the message that's needed to be sent.
Yep, we can only hope.
Yeah. So I want to bring the the other topic we wanted to talk about, since we're already on this fan rage topic, general topics. This is being recorded pre November 15, so on November 15 we will see the release of Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I'm making a bet that Pokemon Sword will sell more, so actually that's why I'm getting Shield instead. Actually, I'm a family person, so I was actually ordered to get both. Anyways, I'm gonna play Shield specifically, and recent news. I mean, we already knew about it, but it kind of got exacerbated these days when they finally leaked the now known as Pokemon Genocide or Restart, or I think there was another name for it, but I like Pokemon Genocide better. For those who don't know, if you are like me, whom has nearly all 806 Pokemon stored in the cloud, newsflash, you will not be able to bring them all to the game. And the biggest outrage of them all was the fact that they did include Charmander, but they left out Squirtle and Bulbasaur, and the fans are irate. They are.
Well, it's not only that. Like I have a friend who he is a diehard Pokemon fan. Like I'm talking like, perfect IV training, a perfect team, all that. And he is pissed because not only is he pissed with the removal of so many Pokemon, which in a next generation console should really not be a thing, but also he's pissed off that of the animations because they look recycled from previous games. And then you look at the animations for some of the Pokemon in, I think, Pokemon Stadium back in the N64 days, and those freaking sprites have more animation than current sprites. So it's like, so let me get this straight. Yeah, you gave a graphical upgrade to the surroundings, to the overworld, the people, but it's a Pokemon game. Like the people could look like sprites, but if the Pokemon look amazing, that's what people want.
It is. I mean, I've seen the trailers. I actually got to see the game in person, and when they were featuring it on some of these Nintendo tours that they're giving out, and it's kind of like you putting a 3DS on a like some hardware to cast it to the TV, and that's what you're playing. So except that's no longer a tropical setting; it's a subtropical or worse setting. I mean, the Pokemon.
It's Britain. It's Europe, the European Britain area.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. I hear that the excuse was that it's hard to program. I think the sum will now get close to 890-ish Pokemon, and it's like, I don't know. That's kind of a lame excuse. They're barely adding moves. They
Well, okay. So the official excuse, and this is what I understand was the official message, is that it's hard to balance. Like competitive Pokemon, it's a thing. There's like a pro league, and they said that it was getting unwieldy, and it was really hard to balance when you have like 900 plus Pokemon to kind of account for. So they kind of reduced the amount to be more manageable. So it would be easier to kind of balance for like pro league, and it's a fair excuse. Like I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here. Like I it kind of sucks that they took like so many weird decisions. Like yeah, let's get rid of like Dragonite, but let's keep Shelter. Or let's keep Charmander and no other starter from no other game ever. Um, but I kind of understand that it would have been really hard to balance when you have 900 different um, natures, skills, and all the possible moves that they could learn. So I don't I don't justify it, but yeah, I kind of understand where they were going with it.
Okay,
But
okay,
you can always draw the rules beforehand.
exactly. Or at that point, if they're really worried about that, then why half-ass it? Just go all out and be like, oh, by the way, the next game, the next generation, we're resetting everything. Like there's gonna be 200 new Pokemon, and we're gonna just start clean from there. And at that point, you just neutralize all those people,
I mean,
and you just go from there.
I get it. You're on a separate region, and you don't expect, Pokemon. Pokemon are mostly animals and objects. You don't really expect like a region that is tropical compared to a region that is completely a template climate to have the same fauna and flora. I get it. You did technically by nature you should not have.
So I understand that, but um, I think that where they slip up is that they went too low on the new. I think it's only like 130 something, 140 new Pokemon. I think that that's just like being lazy. Like if you're gonna remove 400 or 600 of the legacy Pokemon, you should at least bring a big bulk. Bring 200 plus new ones, not keep it so low. I think it's 135, 138 new ones.
Plus, they're kind of getting away with the regional variances. They're kind of overdoing it.
Yeah.
They made a regional variance for Stunkfish. I didn't even remember what Stunkfish was until they brought the regional variant again.
Honestly, like that's also something that pisses me off. You'll have these many regional variants, but you still have Dunsparce as nothing.
I hate that guy.
Except
Oh god.
like right now it's nothing. It looks like it should have an amazing evolution. It looks like it has little wings, so it looks like it should be something amazing that'll take you like 70 levels to evolve. And it's nothing. But we get a Weezing with a top hat.
My Little
Yeah.
Ponyta.
And we get the not fairy type My Little Ponyta.
Yeah, I don't want to get anybody fired, but even on Nintendo official activities, the employees themselves called it a My Little Ponyta.
Exactly. It looks like a fairy. It looks like the ideal fairy Ponyta, but no, it's psychic.
But for the first time, I get to have a My Little Pony without people looking weird at me. Although I still think people will look weird at me for playing Pokemon, but whatever.
There's plenty of Pokemon players, so f- it.
So that's it. I don't mind. I'm taking this in a half glass full type of way. Maybe because most of my team made the cut. But I get it. The only thing is though, I think, and people are probably gonna kill me, but I think Sun and Moon did it better. Sun and Moon did cut off a ton of Pokemon, and their Pokedex was just a little above 400. But they still allowed you to bring the Pokemon to your game. They just didn't count anymore towards the Pokedex.
Exactly. Like why couldn't they just do that? If like they're already basically recycling sprites.
Right.
Just recycle them all.
Yeah, just copy paste the whole code for the Pokemon.
Exactly. And then you don't want like professional Pokemon players to just rely on the same strategy? Simple. Cut that code from competition.
Right. Or ban it.
Be like, these Pokemon cannot compete.
They did it with Sun and Moon, man. They actually,
exactly.
They had Sinnoh competitions, they had Gen 1 competitions, and they had unrestricted competitions. I really saw no problems there.
Exactly.
The same way the Pokemon trading card game has banned cards and banned whatever, you can do the same with Pokemon. Like you bring it, you're banned. If the Pokemon has certain moves, you're banned. The problem is, this is the part that I get. There are a lot of cheat devices. And it's kind of getting hard to track what Pokemon is legit or not.
Yep.
Oh, you mean that level 1 shiny Lugia is a hack Pokemon?
Probably.
Are you? Oh my God! I feel like my eyes have been opened for the first time.
So,
Come on, I hashed that. It's legit.
Of course, I totally hatched that level 1 shiny Lugia with perfect IV scores.
so that part is kind of getting hard to track, honestly. But it still feels to me like you should have seen this coming. Ever since the Game Genie days, you should have seen this coming.
Oh yeah.
I kind of think you dated yourself with the Game Genie, man. Like that goes far back.
So Game Genie was an interesting concept because the way it worked is you put the game on a device. The people that learned all the data structures and the instructions and how the the processor architecture work on the Nintendo basically just grabbed the bytes that were normally supposed to be sent to the processor and rewrote it, producing results that basically you wanted to cheat on the game. Nintendo actually did sue and lost that lawsuit because people once people purchased their licensed copy of the game, they were free to do whatever they want with it.
Oh, dude, like that whole thing is a segue to another topic I want to rant on one of these days. This whole notion of you not technically purchasing a game anymore, you're just renting it from the company. Like I'm old enough to remember having a collection of video games and the possibility of one day having a future where everything is stored and once the company decides, nah, you don't get to play that game anymore, you just don't get to play it. It's kind of messed up.
It's kind of why I still buy cartridges. I mean, at certain games, I still decide to go digital, like Octopath Traveler, for example. But most games, I still buy cartridges. I know it's a pain in the butt that I have to switch cartridges in and out all the time, but I have the software copy of the game at hand.
Exactly. It's, if you're paying that money, you're literally buying it. You shouldn't be considered as renting it or licensing it.
Yeah, but that's a topic that will have its own topic at some point.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, definitely.
not just video games, software is moving towards the pay as you go or pay at what you use basically model.
Yeah, no, screw that.
And don't get me started with
Yeah.
Dr. Mario
Yeah.
World. Lime, I don't know who did Dr. Mario World. Few.
Oh no, how about Mario Kart World Tour?
Oh my god, that was a failure. Like, it's everything is a money grab these days. You know, like really, what really gets to me, the whole notion of season passes. Like games are $100 now. They're not 60. They're like 120. You have to buy a season pass to get the full game. Like I don't know who came up with that, but that just it's just outrageous to me.
I'm going to
Like if you're
I'm going to assume it was some greedy stockholder or CEO in some video game company that invoked the ancient powers of evil and realized, hey, what if I take all those unlockables we used to just put in the game for people to find and get people to buy them? I don't have to pay any extra money because the unlockables are in the game, in the original code. I just pay them for the privilege of unlocking them. Brilliant.
it's insane, and the concept that like the fact that people actually pay is craziness. Like I mostly never buy a season pass. I find it annoying. I find it like they're disrespecting me as a buyer and as a gamer. The game should be all included in like the first $60.
You want to know when I count a season pass as useful? Like I'll give the best example, Borderlands. Borderlands 2 had a season pass. The season pass was literally expansions. You would get expansions with new characters, new missions, new story, everything. But it did not lock away stuff that was in the main game. The main game was a complete, total game with unlockables, with a ton of stuff that you could just find. You didn't have to pay for a new skin, you would just find it. You would get a ton of guns, and you just had a game. And if you wanted more, you could either buy the expansion separate or be like, you know what? I trust this developer. I think they're going to give me good expansions. I'm just going to buy the season pass and just get the season pass and get every single expansion, every single thing. But when you have stuff like Mortal Kombat, where a season pass is literally a new character.
And Smash Brothers.
And Smash
Yeah,
Brothers, yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. Back in the day, like, let me put an onion on my belt to show how old I am. But back in the day, all the characters were in the game, and you had to play for hours upon hours to unlock them.
Yep.
But you felt an accomplishment when you finally unlocked, like, Smoke or Reptile, or when you finally unlocked that one elusive character. You felt accomplished, and you got good in the game doing it. But now it's like, oh, Smoke's out? $10? Sure, here you go.
And you know, this also brings a little contrast on Bethesda. Like if you take Fallout 4, like the season pass was that it was like expansions. It was like new levels, new sections of the map, new skills, new weapons. When you take Fallout 76, it's literally the game. Like what you bought was like an alpha test, like not even beta. It was like literally an alpha test, and it was like an empty world. They just have fun shooting things, and the game will come out eventually, and it still hasn't come. And now they want you to pay a membership. They want you to pay a monthly fee just to, I don't know, like it's get a little bit more flavor for the game. Like
No.
everything should have been there from the start.
No, it's not even that. Like, you are literally getting a skin, which is a nostalgia grab from, I think it's New Vegas. You get an icon on your name to let everyone know you were stupid enough to buy this subscription. Oh, which, by the way, funny enough, players are literally banding together to harass and kill on sight anybody who has that icon in game. And also you get certain items that people wanted in game, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll definitely make those items behind the paywall, which is
It's crazy.
It's stupid, and
It's insulting. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is really insulting towards like fans and gamers and people who have been committed to these companies for so many years.
like, I'll be completely honest, like, I don't pre-order any games now. I don't buy games when they come out because I prefer to wait. I prefer to wait to see if the game's a buggy mess or if it's actually like
Yep.
worth it. But the last game that I pre-ordered, because I was hyped, like I saw this and I was hyped, was No Man's Sky.
Oh God.
Exactly. So, Mike, do you know about No Man's Sky?
Not really.
Okay, so No Man's Sky was touted as being this open universe space game where you could literally travel through billions, literally they said billions, of possible randomly generated planets, find countless species and all that. It would, like, they said the universe would be so big you would never meet another player and blah blah blah.
Which is crazy.
Which
It's an online game where there's people around, you just can't find them because the universe is too big.
it was BS, by the way. Two streamers, and this is the beauty. Two streamers agreed to find themselves in the same universe because by strange luck they had been cast into the same galaxy or something. So they said, "Okay, we will go to this planet. Can you see this planet?" And the guy's like, yeah, I can see the planet. Okay, meet there. They got there, and they're like, where are you? I'm in these coordinates. He's like, I'm here too. Where are you? He's like, I'm here. They couldn't see each other. The so-called multiplayer was bullshit.
No Man's Sky was the worst example of like an online game before Fallout 76. But contrary to Bethesda, the No Man's Sky team actually improved the game significantly through time.
Exactly. That's where I was gonna go. Like, yeah, the game was a grindy mess. The ending was crap, but over time they built it and they made it into a game, like a good game. It took them 2 years, but still. But they never asked for more money. They never said buy this expansion, buy this subscription. No, they're like, yeah, we kind of fucked up. Well, we'll get this done. And now it's a game where it's like, yeah, if you play it, cool. Like, it's actually not bad.
Well, that's going to be our show for today. We'll be continuing this subject on our next episode. You can follow us on Twitter using the at Geeks and Gripes handle. You can follow us on Facebook groups, Instagram, Twitch, as Geeks and Gripes. We hope to have our website ready as well on geeksandgripes.com, no abbreviation. And if you would like to become our Patreon and support us, please visit patreon.com. Find us as Geeks and Gripes as well. That's Geeks and Gripes, no abbreviation. We will appreciate it, and we will definitely figure out a way how to deliver exclusive content for our Patreons. Thank you for listening to our first episode. We hope you enjoyed our podcast, and really hope to have you on our next episode. Thank you.